Well, the United Nations is hosting a donor conference for Afghanistan in Geneva later today. The aim is to raise more than €500 million. The UN says that money is desperately needed to avert a humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan following the Taliban takeover. Half of the population, that's around 18 million people, are dependent on foreign aid, and that number might grow.
A flimsy tent on a Kabul street is all this family have to call home. To feed hungry mouths, people here are reliant on handouts. For now, a local NGO has stepped in to help, but its founder says that many other support services have disappeared in the wake of the Taliban takeover.
So many children, so many families, breastfeeding children, pregnant women, they all come and sat on the ground without nothing. So complete disaster, complete disaster. I gone every day, bring them bread, water, milk for the children, and take care of them while there is none organization exists to support them, because everybody's left Afghanistan.
Many of the people left behind are facing a desperate situation. The UN says more than 500,000 have been internally displaced this year, forced from their homes as the Taliban swept across the country. Some were fleeing another menace: drought. Here in the northwest province of Badghis, the animals are sick and the crops have dried out. Across the country, the drought has exacerbated existing food shortages. Millions are now at risk of starvation, prompting the UN to issue a stark warning.
Basic services in Afghanistan are collapsing, and food and other life-saving aid is about to run out.
Aid organisations and governments are scrambling to fill the gap. This flight from Pakistan brought flour, cooking oil and emergency medical supplies. But much more is needed to avert catastrophe for millions of vulnerable Afghans.
Mary Ellen McGroarty joins us now from Kabul. She's the World Food Programme's country director for Afghanistan. Mary Ellen, how dire is the situation?
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, the situation is becoming incredibly desperate. We had the drought already before the events of the 15th of August, already 14 million people in severe hunger. And since the 15th of August, we just have seen the situation, magnify in terms of what's happening before us. Our recent surveys have shown that 61% of people are reducing their food consumption. Already 3 in 4 Afghan families don't have enough to eat. They're borrowing food. They're forgoing meals. They're not, they're forgoing more nutritious food to buy cheaper food. So the situation is really becoming incredibly difficult. And we just have a catastrophe unfolding before our eyes.
As we've heard in the report, that many aid organisations have left the country. That, of course, might be a big factor, but also the takeover of the Taliban. How has that directly impacted on the supply of food to the Afghan people?
Yeah, many of the agencies are still here. WFP is here on the ground. But I think one of the big factors since August the 15th is the impact on the on-budget support, the impact on the overseas assistance, that money that comes in to keep basic services running. The basic services, the health, the education are at imminent closure, imminent collapse. Also, people are unable to access cash. When I go out around the city now, I see shops boarded up. I see long queues at the bank trying to take out just $300. And I see the market stalls, much less produce on the market stalls. And the silence around the market, there's silence around the bustle of shopping is very evident.
Winter is approaching. What do you need now from the international community?
We need funding now. WFP needs $200 million now. We need to get food into the country before the winter approaches. As you know, in Afghanistan, many of the roads, many of the communities are cut off during the snow, during the very harsh winters this country gets. So we're racing against the clock. We're racing against winter to stave off hunger from the drought and hunger from the economic crisis.
Well, the donor conference for Afghanistan is getting underway in Geneva today. We've heard that earlier. How confident are you that enough money will be given?
I'm hoping that the international community will reach into their pockets and support Afghanistan at this time. It's critical for our shared humanity. It's critical for the humanitarian effort that in their greatest time of need, that the international community stands alongside the women and children and men of Afghanistan whose lives have been upended through no fault of their own.
McGroarty there from the World Food Programme in Kabul. Thank you very much.
Thank you.